This is the least valuable asset in a retirement plan, and most people who own it don't even realize its value. A pension of $30,000 a year doesn't sound like much, and unless you carefully calculate the math, a financial planner actually uses. A pension is equivalent to $755,000 in a retirement account. That number rewrites everything about how you retire. From your investments, to your Social Security strategy, to your risk tolerance, to how well you sleep at night. Today, we're re-explaining why pensions have rewritten retirement rules from scratch, and why about 85% of private sector workers without pensions are playing a completely different game. As early as the early 1980s, about 38% of private sector workers participated in fixed income pension plans. Their employers promised to conduct monthly special inspections of their retirement lives, manage their investments, and take all risks. Workers just come to do their jobs, and then they get a guaranteed income. The model began in 1978 when Section 401(k) was incorporated into the tax code. Around 1980, a welfare consultant named Ted Benna realized that the rule might create a tax-free savings account to be funded through payroll deductions, but it was never intended. No one designed 401(k) to replace pensions, but it did. Private pension plans across the country peaked at about 175,000 around 1983, and have declined almost immediately since. The new accounting standards changed the way companies report pension obligations in their balance sheets. People start living longer, which means paying more years of benefits. Lower interest rates raise the present value of these future debts and make pensions look extremely expensive to sustain. One by one, companies froze plans or banned new employees. IBM froze pensions in 2008, General Motors and Ford launched large-scale one-time acquisitions in 2012, setting off what analysts call a wave of pension de-risking across the industry. By 2023, data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that only about 15% of private sector workers still had access to fixed benefit plans. Before retiring, he relied on a three-legged stool, one for Social Security, the second for corporate pensions, and the third for personal savings. For the vast majority of private sector workers alive today, pension legs were written off and a two-legged stool quickly flipped over. So who else is receiving a pension in this country? The vast majority are public sector employees, teachers, firefighters, the police, the military, federal employees, and state and local government workers make up the majority of pension holders in the United States. As the Bureau of Labor Statistics 2023 data show, about 8 to 6% of state and local government workers retain access to fixed income plans, compared with only 15% in the private sector. Federal employees hired after 1983 are part of the Federal Employee Retirement System, which combines pensions with thrift savings plans and Social Security. Military retirees receive retirement pay according to their rank and length of service. Most state and local employees participate in the National Retirement System, which still operates under the traditional pension model. Another thing most pension holders don't fully understand is the actual dollar value of what they hold. The average public pension benefit for state and local government retirees is about $26 to $33,300 a year, according to the National Association of State Retirement Administrators. On the face of it, that sounds mild, but translating it into the languages of the rest of the retirement world has revolutionized the situation. Financial planners typically use the 4% rule as a benchmark, in which retirees withdraw 4% of their portfolio in the first year, and then adjust for inflation. Under this framework, $500,000 in savings generates about $20,000 a year in income. Instead, $30,000 a year is equivalent to $750,000 in revenue, and $260,000 is equivalent to about $650,000. Most pension holders have never designed this scenario. They see checks every month. They don't see $3.25 million in intangible assets. They don't save. They don't invest. They don't live. And this reorganization is where the whole retirement calculation is starting to change. Pensions aren't just about increasing your retirement income. It reorganizes every major decision you face. Start with the timing of Social Security, because that is where money becomes reality. Delaying post-retirement Social Security until age 70 increases benefits by about 8% a year, which means applying for Social Security at age 70 instead of 62 increases your monthly income by 7 to 6% for the rest of your life. The gap between the two options is huge. For most people, the problem is they can't afford to wait, because they need cash flow right away. Pensions solve the problem. When your pension covers housing, food, utilities, and insurance, you can maximize Social Security while your pension handles bills. As of January 2024, the average Social Security benefit was about $1,900 a month, while the maximum benefit for full retirement age exceeded $3,800. When pensions act as a bridge, it is possible to capture this complete difference. The next step, contrary to most people's instincts, is how to invest the rest of your savings. You would expect income-protected people to be a safe bet in a portfolio. But the logic is actually the opposite. When pensions and Social Security cover your basic expenses together, the money in your 401k or IRA becomes surplus capital. You don't need it to make groceries, you don't need it to turn on the lights, and money you haven't touched in years can sit in high-growth investments for longer. Pensions play the same role as bonds in traditional portfolios, providing stable and predictable income. This means that pension holders can allocate more of their remaining savings to stocks because the floor already exists. Stability has been established. This is a completely different portfolio conversation, not with people who rely on 401k for every dollar of retirement spending. Dropping out of math has also changed, more than most people realize. For retirees who live on portfolios, the most frightening risk is return series risk, in which a sharp decline in the market in the years before retirement will permanently damage the withdrawn portfolio. Pensions offset that threat because you won't be forced to sell shares at the bottom to pay your bills. Your portfolio can sit back, recover, and then leverage on its terms. Then there is the psychological shift, perhaps the most powerful. Retirees worry most about running out of money. According to the Federal Reserve's Consumer Finance Survey in 2022, the median retirement savings of households, headed by 55 to 64 years old, are about $185,000. With the 4% rule, you can get a sustainable withdrawal rate of about $7,400 a year, which is not a comfortable retirement by any standard. Pensions dispel the core anxiety of exhaustion. Regardless of the stock market, whether you live to be 75 or 95, checks arrive every month. This certainty changes the way people think, plan, and experience retirement every day. None of this means pensions are free of complications, some of which can be severe. Inflation is the biggest silent threat. Many private sector pensions have no cost of living adjustment at all. If your plan doesn't have Coke and the purchasing power of checks is almost halved after 20 years, or even moderate inflation, today, $2,000 a month will still be $2,000 a month in 20 years. Some public pensions, including those under the federal system, do include automatic adjustments, which give them a huge advantage. Projects without this function expose retirees, and the gap is widening year by year. Financing risk is the second issue worthy of attention. Not all pension plans have a solid financial base. The unfunded liabilities of state and local pension plans are estimated everywhere, from $1.2 TN, using the plan's own earnings assumption, to $4.5 TN at a more conservative market discount rate, according to estimates by Pew Charitable Trusts and the Hoover Institution. States like Illinois, New Jersey, Kentucky, and Connecticut are feeling real financial pressure from pension obligations. In Detroit's 2013 bankruptcy effectively led to cuts in pension benefits for retirees. The private sector does have a safety net. Pension benefit companies intervene when corporate plans fail, but with limited coverage. In 2024, the maximum monthly guaranteed benefit for people age 65 will reach about $7,100 a month, which means that anyone with a pension above that threshold may face cuts. Public sector pensions do not have the same federal insurance, but rely on the taxing power and political will of state or local governments, which amounts to a completely different kind of security. The one-time payment decision is alarming. Many pensioners face the choice of paying a monthly lifetime fee or a one-time buyout, one of the most important financial decisions a person can make after retirement. The right choice depends on health, life expectancy, other income, current interest rates, marital status, and honest confidence that you won't spend a lot of money too soon. Financial planners agree that most people lack the tools to independently evaluate decisions. Survivor welfare adds another layer of complexity. Pensions can include joint and survivors, options that reduce monthly payments but continue to pay 50, 75, or 100% to surviving spouses. After the retiree dies, choosing a single life option for a larger monthly check means that if you die first, your spouse will not receive a pension, a trade-off that needs to be carefully weighed with full awareness of the risks. Returning to the broader picture clarifies why all this matters. The Boston College Center for Retirement Studies estimates that about half of Americans risk not being able to maintain their pre-retirement standard of living once they stop working. About half of older Social Security beneficiaries rely on checks to pay 50% or more of their income, and about a quarter rely on checks to pay 90% or more of their income. In this context, pensions create a structurally different form of retirement. Research by the National Retirement Security Institute shows that defined benefit plans can provide the same retirement income as defined benefit plans at a cost of about 4.6%, 4.9%, because they concentrate risk on thousands of participants and benefit from institutional scale investment management. That number has been controversial. But the core principle that concentrated risk trumps individual risk-taking runs through economics. Ironically, while private sector pensions have been disappearing for decades, recent policies have been pushing 401(k) toward a more pension-like system. The Securities Act of 2019 and the Securities 2.0 Act of 2022 contain provisions encouraging 401(k) balance annuities to give people the right to convert savings into similar pensions. Several states have started automated IRA programs, like Cal Savers and Oregon Saves, to expand retirement opportunities for workers without employer plans. But these are not real pensions, and they function more like patches on a system that lost its most powerful structural elements. 40 years ago, money has good news. Interest rate hikes in 2022, 2023, and 2024 have improved the funding of many pension plans by reducing the present value of future liabilities, and some companies plan to shift from underfunded areas to well-funded or even overfunded areas. In 2021, the U.S. Rescue Plan also spent more than $90 billion to rescue seriously troubled multi-employer pension plans. Through the Special Financial Assistance Program of the People's Bank of China, pensions are still small, but those who survive are financially stronger than they have been for years. That is the bottom line. Pensions are not monthly vouchers. This is a huge, long-lived financial asset that rewrites how you should treat every retirement decision you face. From when to apply for Social Security, to how to invest your savings, to how to plan for your spouse when you leave. For those without pensions, the game is more structurally difficult. Pensions describe most private sector workers today. Your 401(k) must do what 3 separate systems once shared, which requires more intent, more discipline, and more financial awareness. Math doesn't care about emotion. It cares only about what is guaranteed and what is not. If you find this useful, subscribe. We broke truly moving financial decisions. There are no fillers, just numbers and the logic behind them. See you next time.